I'm going to be talking about before you enter the country, some of the things you need to note, most especially for your application for the temporary authorization to stay. Like it was mentioned in some of the videos that we shot some time back, this authorization to stay is like the main thing. It's not like guarantee that you're going to get a visa, but you have like a higher percentage of getting a visa if you are successful with obtaining the temporary authorization to stay. So now let's just display all of this. Now this is where I'm coming to exactly. The original financial statement of support for the intention of the Luxembourg state and the student, signed by a sponsor of Luxembourgish nationality or staying legally in Luxembourg. So if you want to use somebody that is not your parent or not yourself, that sponsor must be someone. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name remains Comfort Oladayo Adegbero. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for coming and stopping by at this channel. And if you are an old subscriber, thank you also for coming back. So yeah, so many things you can check from my channel on this page. You have like series of videos on scholarship opportunities, and some of them have been broken down into like playlists where you have the Study in Luxembourg series. There are lots of videos on that, ranging from what you need to know before studying, the admission, the benefits, how the tuition could be low, how to like search for a course, the visa application, and some available scholarships also. And there is like the Study in Italy, Study in Europe series where you have the Erasmus scholarship. There's the Study in Poland. Also, you have my Opa Life podcast where I talk about faith-based issues and faith-based topics, and I believe you'll be able to like gain one or two things. So today we'll be talking about some updates regarding studying in Luxembourg, especially when you're applying for your authorization to stay, the requirements, and the proof of fund, especially like your sponsor. So let's just get right into it. So now we'll be going to the immigration website, and I'm going to put the link in the description box, but just to make this fast, I'm just going to type it in, check the description box for the link. And it's also, this link is also in the visa application video. I'm going to also put that in the description box for this video and also add it as a card when I'm uploading this video. So the initial link I kept in the visa application video no longer works because I believe that they must have updated details on this website. Specifically, I want to just show you something I discovered with regards to the sponsor that is allowed for your financial statement when you are bringing in the proof of fund for your authorization to stay application. And I'll give you a disclaimer here that whatever I'm sharing on this page, you are still left with the responsibility of searching it out yourself. I bring up people to talk just to like create some sort of enlightenment, but everyone is still responsible for the steps they take and also checking out and confirming the right information. So I'll just show you like the official website that contains all the information regarding your application to get the authorization to stay for Luxembourg. As I said, I'm going to put this link in the description box. So this says conditions for residence in Luxembourg for studies for students from third countries, of which Nigeria and most African countries are included. So you can also go through all of this like step by step. So it says here that a third country national who wishes to come to Luxembourg for a period of more than 3 months for the purpose of study must follow a procedure in 2 consecutive steps. One, before you enter the country, you have to submit an application for temporary authorization to stay to the General Department of Immigration of the Ministry of Home Affairs. You need to have a valid passport, and for persons subject to visa requirements in order to enter Luxembourg, you have to request for a type D visa after having obtained the temporary authorization to stay. So this is like the main step you have to do when you are in Nigeria. Then after you have entered the country, so I'm sure you can go through the details after you have entered the country, but I'm going to be talking about before you enter the country, some of the things you need to note, most especially for your application for the temporary authorization to stay. Like it was mentioned in some of the videos that we shot some time back, this authorization to stay is like the main thing. It's not like guarantee that you're going to get a visa, but you have like a higher percentage of getting a visa if you are successful with obtaining the temporary authorization to stay. So now let's just display all of this. So who is concerned? A third country national that is from a country which is neither an EU member state nor a country treated as such, who resides in a third country and wishes to establish residence in Luxembourg for the purpose of study will need an authorization to stay and then a residence permit. So you can scroll through to like get details of those that could be accepted, and it includes persons enrolled in higher education establishments in Luxembourg. That's including masters and all of that. Even PhD students are considered as students. And since you're applying to the University of Luxembourg, it's considered like a higher education system. Now to the prerequisites. Third country nationals must meet the following requirements first. You need to have a valid passport, which I believe you should have while you're applying. And you have to check whether or not you need to obtain a visa to enter the Schengen area. Of course, you have to get a visa. So, but you can still click on this link to find out what is required. Fulfill the conditions to be considered a student. And this means you should have, obtained admission and should have been accepted and given the permission to apply for the authorization to stay. So how to proceed? Number one, before you enter the country, the first thing is the temporary authorization to stay. And you need to apply for this from your country of origin. It says the future third country student must submit an application for the ATS on plain paper from their country of origin, and you're sending it to the General Department of Immigration or the Luxembourg Diplomatic or Consular Representation, or to a diplomatic or consular mission representing Luxembourg. And this application must be submitted and approved before entering the country. Applications submitted from Luxembourg are inadmissible. So now the application for a temporary authorization to stay must contain your identity details, blah, 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 and must be accompanied by the following documents and information. This is where I'm coming to and the purpose of this video. Your passport in its entirety, and Faith mentioned this in the video that you have to scan every single page of your passport when you're submitting an application for the temporary authorization to stay. Where applicable, a copy of the residence permit issued in another EU. That is, if you are already in the Schengen area, then you have to submit this. But if you're applying from Nigeria directly, this is not applicable to you. Then an extract from their criminal record or an affidavit. So now, if you believe that you really want to study in Luxembourg and you are confident that you're going to gain admission and apply for the authorization to stay, you should start looking for how to get a criminal record clearance from Nigeria. If you're in Lagos, you go to Ikoyi and look for how you are supposed to obtain this document and not wait till the deadline. And you need to have proof that you have been enrolled. So there should be a proof of your admission letter or something. Now, for the proof of sufficient resources to cover for living expenses and return travel costs, we mentioned earlier in the video that you need 80% of the current social inclusion income. You can click on this to check, but there's still a document I'm going to go through later on, which is just below, and you'll see what we are talking about. Now, it says that the following can be used as proof. One, original document of the certificate of scholarship or student loan, stating the amount and its duration. So, for example, if you have a scholarship, that's a proof, right? And maybe this sometimes scholarship might not be enough, so you might want to augment with your own statement, but a scholarship or maybe a loan is acceptable as proof. Then an original bank certificate and a bank statement for the past 6 months attesting that the student, that is you yourself, it has to be in your name, that you have enough financial resource on your own account, right? So it has to be 6 months. Or if it is your parent that will be supporting you, and it has to be like 12 months that you have to present for a year as the bank statement. Now, this is where I'm coming to exactly. The original financial statement of support for the intention of the Luxembourg state and the student, signed by a sponsor of Luxembourgish nationality or staying legally in Luxembourg. So if you want to use somebody that is not your parent or not yourself, that sponsor must be someone who is residing in Luxembourg legally, or the person has Luxembourgish nationality. So it cannot be any other person. If, let's say, for example, you have like a relative or distant relative in another country or even in Nigeria that is not your parent, or the person is not you, that person won't be accepted. So the person that would act as your sponsor must be in Luxembourg, and person must be residing, there. And let me show you, just to confirm this, I sent an email to the immigration office just to like confirm and be sure. And this was the response I got from them. As you can see, it says, "Good morning. Sponsors for students can either be the parents or a person legally living in Luxembourg." So I will show you the place where you can also get their contact if you want to find like, more information. So that's very important that you need to take note of that. So, and there's a legal form the person needs to fill. If you are under 18 years old, you need the parental authorization, you need health insurance certificate covering illness in Luxembourg, that is a travel insurance, and where necessary, a power of attorney. So you can check details about this to know whether you need that. And they said the documents enclosed must be original, so certified true copies, except for the passports where a plain copy will suffice. So it means when you are sending, after you have gotten admission, you are sending the application to the school, to the immigration of Luxembourg to get the authorization to stay. Everything you are sending is original copies, which I'm sure they would, mail and post back to you. All right. And if your documents are not in German, French, or English, you need to translate, but you shouldn't have problem with that because most of our certificates in Nigeria, everything is actually in English. So, and they said here that you should get like a response within 60 days. And if there's need for additional information, they will reach out to you, and the 60-day deadline would then be suspended until the required document or information are received within the set deadline. And in case of a favorable reply, the third country national receives a temporary authorization to stay sent by post. This temporary authorization to stay is valid for a duration of 90 days. During that time, the third country national must either apply for an entry visa to Schengen area if they are subject to visa requirements, or if they are not subject to visa requirements, they have to enter the Luxembourg territory and make a declaration of arrival to the administration of the commune where they reside. And afterwards, you also need to get residence permit. So you have to check all of that. All right, and check everything here that concerns you. I'm not going to go into that detail. And it also talks about after you have entered the country, the things you have to do. So you really need to sit down and check this page very well. And also your residence permit application, how you have to like go about it. There are different ways of you applying for that. Is that you submit online or you submit by post. So you can, go through this page and find all of the information required. And also there's also carrying out the paid activity. These ones are for like when you're already in the school, like when you're already in Luxembourg. So check details about this. And also you also have to renew your residence permit, which is valid for 1 year from when you enter into the country. So check details about that. Now I'm looking for now these are like documents that you can check that are also very, very important. So now I'm going to be going to the part where it talks about the authorization to stay for a third national. So let's check what it entails. So this page is just like a summary of how you can apply for the authorization to stay. Is like more of like a repetition of what I've said, but it's just like a condensed form, and it's just straightforward and contains all of the information. So these are the requirements that are needed. Like I said, you have to be admitted into one of the universities. And when you want to apply, these are the documents you need to, apply for the authorization to stay. And the proof that you have enough research, when they said 80% of the actual social inclusion income, so the value at this point is 1,161.60 euros per month. Yeah, so, and they also mentioned how you can get the money. So, like a repetition of what has been stated, either original scholarship certificate or your bank statement in your name, or your parents or your sponsor. So, if you want to use any other sponsor that the person is not in Luxembourg, probably they just have to like loan you the money, and the money has to be in your parents' account or in your own account, and then you could look for maybe recommendation letter to support it or back. But either way, whatever you're using as your proof of fund or proof of income has to be solid, and there shouldn't be like any doubts, about it and all of that. That's basically all I'll be talking about in this video. Like I said, you have to check all of this information yourself. You can look at all of these documents here, financial statement of support for a student. When you're sponsoring Luxembourg, there's a format that it has to follow. So you have to check it very well. And if you need to contact anybody, if you want to find out information, either you call them by this number, or the easiest one is to send them an email, just like I said. And I got a response within 24 hours. So you have to be proactive yourself, know how to find information yourself, and do the needful. So I believe like this is everything you would you need to know concerning, maybe not everything per se. If you have questions, definitely you can drop them in the comment section. And yeah, somebody definitely brought this to my notice. That's why I said, let me just make this video and, inform everyone. Do check every of the videos I've released on the Study in Luxembourg series. And I'll be putting up more contents very soon, especially for studying in the US and available scholarships that you can look out for. Till we meet, do stay comforted, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video. Bye.